Hello and welcome to a little bit of early morning map making with me, BonBonB. I'm BonBonB. You're very welcome. Right, so this map build is getting to the point where the amount of benefit I get for the amount of work I'm putting in is slowly getting smaller. So basically, efforts against rewards, diminishing returns. Mostly because the shapes of the trees are about right now. It's just that the mix of the trees, there are some areas that have been, let me come down to this lake here. There are some areas, like this lake here, where the tree mix is about right. We've got one or two, only in this area, that's why I chose this area, one or two lighter coloured trees in here as well. So basically what we're going to be doing from this point in basically is improving the forest mixes, making them feel a little bit more I don't know, interesting. I'm going with interesting. Also though, the city centre kind of area still feels a little disjointed. It's not too bad. One thing that is bothering me is the density of the trees in this. The more I look at the trees in this centre square here, I did want it dense, but I think the density of trees along here is just ridiculous, probably. Oh man, yeah. I could probably remove 50 to probably about 60-ish% of the trees from a run like this. Every third tree, maybe? No, 2 out of every 3 trees. And it probably would still be dense enough to work. So yeah, there's things to do. Tree mixes to be like just smushed and made more pleasing. There are some areas which are placeholder trees. So we've got like the trees along the plateaus here. These are about the right shape, but there is just one sort of tree there and no changes in density at all with the trees. Off camera yesterday, I had time to come to the ore. Here we go, the ore section. For the ore industries, and the placeholder trees that were put here I've run over with a softening brush just to thin them out a little bit. I probably removed half of the trees from up here and they still look okay, because basically we need to put in a mix on these as well. So right, so that's the plan. That is the plan. How's I'm going to start today is the question. Right, so this needs to be less disjointed, and a way of doing that, I think, is I'm just going to have to connect up a few of these. So yeah, a few more trees in this area is the answer, I think. If in doubt, a few more trees. Yeah, that's the answer. That's my answer to everything. If in doubt, a few more trees. Unless it's already too many trees, in which case, no more trees. It's as simple as that, really, isn't it? It's as simple as a few more trees or no more trees. Or a few more trees and then take a few of those extra trees out because it was too many trees. I think that's kind of better already. I think we're winning already. And then if I bring that around this way like so, that kind of feeds into that to get a little bit of feedback loop going on there. And maybe bring a little of those like that. Little bit. I have no clue, basically, is what I'm saying. Well, the whole map has been the doodle. The original plan, the original design was a doodle, and so I'm currently doodling a little bit more, thinking at what point is it going to be over doodled. I'm not sure what the answer to that speculation is, but I don't think we're at that point yet. So for that, I'm just gonna keep doodling. Just keep the doodling going. You can never have too much doodling until you've overdoodled. At which point you can undoodle. There is an undoodle button. Oh, God. I don't know if I got enough sleep last night. I don't know if I got enough sleep last night. Something is broken in my brain this morning. More broken than normal. Anyways, how are you doing this morning? Hope you're having a good morning. I have my coffee. I haven't had any of the coffee yet, so I can't put any of this down to lack or excess of coffee. Well, I can put it down to lack of coffee, I guess. It's something just not firing correctly. But yeah. Again, just looking to get shapes done. In fact, I think that's exactly what this one needs, is a block like so. Maybe that's what we need here as well. Oh, field painting. There's a definitive lack of field painting in my urban areas. There's a definitive lack of it. And maybe that's what these areas need. And you know what? I think it absolutely blinking well is. I think I found the problem. The solution to everything is field painting. Man, who knew? Who knew? Apart from everybody. How about something like that? Couple here. Just not that close to the road, please. I didn't ask you to go that close to the road now, did I? So please don't. Push the, not the density, the strength to guarantee we get a little. That's a bit cleaner. That's a wee bit cleaner. Size is 1. So I would be hoping, there we go. I'd be hoping we get a tree every single click on one. How is that feeling? That's feeling a little better. This needs to be enclosed off at both ends, but not fully. Not fully. No, 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 no. That one can go. Right, so how's that? Not bad. Not bad. Not amazing. Oh, look, we have company. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first commenter of the day, and it's Ranman. Always a pleasure to be up late night or early morning with BonBonB and watch him do his magic in map making. 2 a.m. in Florida. Oh, man. Wow. So, yes. Hello, Flow Rider. How are you? You're right. I am looking at that and go, did I accidentally... I think I misclicked. There's no way that's meant to be there. Right, so I'm now going to go to a slightly larger brush. And if I do something like... Oh, blimey, the density on that was absolutely insane, wasn't it? Let's bring the density down a little bit. And we'll try that again with a... We're still insane. Hang on. It's the strength. The strength is through the roof. What is all that about? It's me. It's me. I forgot. I forgot me thing. I forgot me thing. And me thing's been re-remembered. Oh dear. So. Just shapes. Tying everything in together is what makes a big difference. A big difference to a map. Shape and form. If I speak with confidence, I will convince myself I know what I'm talking about, right? Here, okay, I'm going to do something here, which is I'm going to paint the entire block, and then I'm going to remove some of said block with the straightish lines of the Move It tool. Oh, not that one. So something like this, plus the ones that evaded the straggle. Then something like this, and more, and more, like that. And then something like this. Oh, that's a copy. That's not a copy. It's a copy. It's the delete. And then finish with something like that. That is my words for that. That is my words. You can quote me. There we go. That's better. Betterer. Little tiny little soft touch in here. Right. So that area, the coast along here feels a lot better now. It's not finished, but I kind of like the clean edge with the roads. I kind of like it. I don't want to do too much to destroy that. I think there's going to be one or two patches with the... Come on, move it. That'll do. Just that. Just that, maybe here. And a few hand placed trees from here to extend it up this way. There's a couple on the end here. And maybe a few here, effectively closing off this field, even though it's not a field. The field which is not a field. And it feels a little bit incomplete around this area, doesn't it? But I'm not liking that at all. If I move you down the way a little bit into this angle, something like that, making out, even though there's not, in fact that is pretty good in my opinion. Pretty good. I'm now inspired just to bring this along a little bit this way, maybe even almost tying that up with that. There we are. Think that is that coast. Again, we haven't got the mix of trees yet, we're just going with the shapes, but we are, it's diminishing returns for the amount of work we put in now, for the amount of what's the word I'm looking for, rewards now. So you could do, when you start making the map, every change that you make makes a huge difference. Now every change that you make makes a subtle difference, and there's a point where you have to say, right, okay, I can move this tree one node to the left, nobody will ever notice apart from me. That it gets to that level, and you have to draw a line. You have to absolutely draw a line. There is one thing with the map, as it's just you and me. Just you and me at the moment, nobody else is watching. There is one thing with the map which, one part of it where I'm least happy about. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And I'm happy enough with it. I'm happy enough that I don't need to go back and change it. But if I were to restart, or if you said, look, Cities Skylines 2 is cancelled for 3 years, you may as well make this map as good as possible. There is one aspect about it I would change. I would try to change anyway. It would make, I don't know, I think it would elevate the map a bit. Significantly, that it would be worthwhile doing. But it would be another 20 hours of work on top, maybe more, because it is a fundamental, I don't know, it's a major part of the map that would require a lot of terrain editing to make it work. I'm not going to say exactly specifically what it is, but it's but what I'm seeing, how it is at the moment is, I mean, it's more than adequate. It is something that I'm happy with, but I don't know if it's going to live up to the expectations that my brain may have had before I started work on the map. Anyway, that's my thought process on that. We're good to roll with this. Let's deal with this. The tree density in here. If you pull back the camera and look at the map like this stands out like a sore thumb. And it is literally the density of trees down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-tree paint this area with the line tree paint with the line tool, because this is way too dense. Way too dense. Look at this. Look at the insanity of the density. What was I thinking in not holding down the shift button when I selected the rest of that? Right, so actually, if we remove all of these, and we can see exactly how many trees we had. In fact, probably would be a nice idea if we did that. So trees 121442. We just remove this entire inner line. We'll replace them, but just not so dense. 121. I've forgotten now. 442. Was it 442? Well, probably quite important we get that number right. Oh, you are fucking joking me. Why? Excuse me. I have the shift button held down. Why? I'm just checking I've got the shift button held down. I do. Must have been a lift on the key. Alright, that's all of those. Now, don't do it again. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. I didn't do it again. Right, so 1442. Delete. 1442. Now I'm going to do the same trick. 1442, but with a less dense line. 1442, not 10 meters, maybe 8 meters? I don't know. Is that still, might still be too deep. Maybe 10 meters, maybe 11 meters. That might do it. Let's just keep bringing this up until it's too much. Do you know what? I'm going to go at 13. I think I'm going to go at 13. Or can we go further? 16? 16. Right. If nothing else, we're going to make a saving on trees. I think I took one of those liner trees as well while I was doing that. 1442. Let's have a little look. Let's have a little look at... Missed one in the corner. All of that, I missed one in the corner. That's alright. We'll leave him in the corner. He's doing no harm. And that is slightly less insane. I am, however, going to break up some of the symmetry by... Ooh, didn't want to do that, but we'll try this. 1442. Let's just break up some of the repeated, obvious, evidential, just by putting one of these trees in between a few, so it's not an obvious tree line, prop line. And we'll see how many trees I saved in that process, given we haven't even done the outer lines. We've got a couple of outer lines as well, which could probably be tidied up. These two here. Right, 1442. We've dropped to what we've saved over 100 trees there. 115 trees. Just by doing that. And from a distance, do 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 do. It's probably still too heavy. It's probably still too heavy. We may have to thin out a couple of areas properly. Let's have a little break in a couple of these areas. A hint to that being heavily. It's just too much. It's just too much. Anyways, hi Tamada. Well, I figured out how to create a magic city with fewer than. Come on, you're going to speak English, learn proper English. But don't worry, less than and fewer than is one of those really, really common problems that even true English speakers get wrong. Okay? The difference between less and fewer is fewer relates to something that is countable, right? So you could have less paint in your palette. So if you have a palette of paint, it is, I guess it's measurable, right? But it's not really countable. So you can have less paint in your palette pot. You don't have fewer paint. Whereas there are fewer cars on the road, not less cars on the road. There's less traffic on the road because traffic isn't countable, but cars are. It's one of those that... So, you know I'm only teasing you though, right? You know I'm only teasing you there. But yes, it's one of BonBon's Bugbears. Oh, there's a new series, BonBon's Bugbears. Oh man, let me write that down. I don't know if I'm actually going to use it, but hang on. Tamada, you might have... Hang on. Bugbears. I'm writing your name down here. 357. Because you have inspired me to a potential, not saying I'm going to do it, but a potential series. BonBon's Bugbears. Wow. Anyway, by using some tree control tricks and literally rainbow roads. Rainbow roads. Ooh. Okay. Also, why am I almost the only one here? Because it's 6 o'clock in the morning. A lot of my viewers are USA. So USA, it's getting very late. So why would they be watching? Over here in the UK, it's very, very early. But they're still asleep. Same with Europe. So I'm not really expecting... I do these streams more for me, right? I do them more for me. Especially when you look at the amount of the subscriber crash that I've had since I've been doing this map making series. We had the 2 days. Actually, who was it? It was somebody on my Patreon who said that they didn't think it was the live streams that were nerfing the channel, but the fact that there was items that was unlisted that you had to go hunt. But the unlisting didn't make much of a difference. It made a difference to the amount of views that those unlisted videos got, but they weren't getting big views anyway. Basically, they were hurting the channel indirectly anyway. But since doing the stream, I've been losing on average maybe 2 or 3 subscribers per day, with the exception of the 2 days where I wasn't able to stream because the stream software was being a pain in the backside, needed rebuilding. Would you know it? Those 2 days saw an increase in subscribers. So yeah, these streams are nerfing my channel a little bit. Honestly, I don't mind that much because we are ready for a reboot. Well, I say ready. We're going to have I'm not ready for a reboot. There's a lot of work to be done before the reboot. But yeah, the Cities Skylines II is, with that coming out, there will be there's going to be a lot of things I want to do. I might even have to take like a week or so where I don't actually put out any content at all, which is going to be easy to do. Given, let me bulldoze that. Thank you. It's going to be easy to do because there's not going to be once this map build is done. The only things that I've got lined up are tutorials, which frankly I don't know if I even want to worry about now. Back to this. I don't know if I'm even worried about tutorials now for Cities Skylines 1. I'm not saying there won't be. I'm just saying there's unless there's anything really specific, I don't know that I'm going to go to any extended effort. Certainly with the complete guide to map making, I'm not going to be spending 30 hours making a video that's going to get 200 views. Just not going to do it now, because I think that's the sort of level of views it may get. So that's that. But I do have some tutorials already lined up for Cities Skylines 2, even though the game isn't out. I think there are some that I can do to get ahead of the curve. Will you just, thank you. I'm trying very hard to delete those and it wouldn't. So there's stuff that I can be doing. It's not that I have nothing to do in terms of content, but I am yeah, I've got plenty of, well, this thing, please hang on, get rid of if I get rid of move it, this might behave. Right, select this. I'm going to catch up in a moment with that chat. I know I only got a certain distance with the chat and then went off on a tangent. That bugbear thing really did sort of, it struck a chord with me. Sometimes you say stuff and you go, oh man, that's what I need to do. And I know there's actually a lot of people that watch my channel just to hear me rant. So maybe that's where we need to go. Right, so anyway, already I reckon this area here is feeling a little less, it's still too bold, but it was ridiculous. It was so heavy in the middle of the map. It was so heavy in the middle of the map. Now, if I take a few of these out, this will make this far easier on the eye, especially from the distance, while still being very strikingly almost like a stadium or a gated community style park, that kind of thing, where the rich and famous with the big townhouses, the big row house townhouses might be living down this way. Not saying they are. That's a city builder's job, not my job. I don't care. I really don't care. You can, again, I'm saying this with this map, like with every map on the workshop, this is only meant to inspire or potentially inspire. That is already a zillion times better. Oh my god, how did it take me until now? Elevated, absolutely elevated. Crikey. I nearly said Christ delight. I'm not going to say that. I won't. If I ever say the words Christ delight, put a down vote. No, I'm just kidding. just kidding you. Put an up vote. Encourage me to say it more. Right, let me have a bit more of my coffee and I'll catch up with Tamada. Has been so busy in the chat, in case you're watching on catch up. Why am I done that one there? One thing I did, forget those field borders. They suck up so many trees. They do. They do. Depending on how you do it, mind you. There are, I have seen many a field line done like this. Okay, not necessarily the start of the tree, but with huge separations. Again, you're only alluding to an area being a tree line, being a field, right? Or you could do true realistic, like I had the density of trees down here. How these lines were a minute ago. I've seen, say, fields that have done true realism. Then you've got the partial realism, kind of like, almost like how I've got this inner line. Forget the conifers around the outside. But again, the suggestive. If the eye thinks there's a hedge line there, then there's a hedge line there, right? That's, yeah. We're not doing the city builders finished farm for them. What we're doing is we're suggesting that maybe there's a farm there, maybe there is a road there, and so on. Right, let's go. I would say add some gaps. Yes, indeed, you're absolutely correct. That's actually useful for me because I have English classes and I'm currently finishing your English. I'm going to rephrase that. Your written English as an English native is very good. I wouldn't know that you were having English classes. A lot of the errors that I'm seeing are errors that I would expect to see from, shall we say, a teenager in this country. But they're not necessarily errors that you see from a teenager in this country that you would necessarily correct. For example, where you would use the word English there, that should be with a capital E. That said, in the next one you've got there, you've used Earth, the Moon, and Mars with capitals. So you understand it, and there's nothing wrong. Again, there's nothing wrong with writing English in small case in a chat box, because this is very informal. If you type LOL, it's informal, and nobody would not expect nobody wants you to write LOL with capitals. It's like, well, you can. I suppose technically it's correct. But again, English in lowercase in a chat box, absolutely fine. It's informal. And I would very happily type something deliberately wrong for effect, because it's all about effect. It's about getting a message across. That's what the great thing with language is. As long as you get your message across, I don't think it really matters that much. As long as you're understood. It's only when you get slightly more formal, that's where these things matter a little bit, just a little bit, right? So yeah, the difference between less than and fewer than is the countability, and there are fuzzy lines, because as you'll know, if you're learning English, I'm sure we're learning French as well, there are fuzzy lines between whether you use one phrase or another phrase, and it's not always wrong. It's not always wrong, but yeah, it's a helpful guide, similar to the phrase "I before E except after C," because technically, I think that is actually wrong. I think there are more instances where it's E before I. So I did see on a TV show once they were looking into it, but it's actually helpful for generally with kids, the words that kids are trying to spell, it is I before E, usually. So I wouldn't worry too much on that. But yes, where are we? Catch it. English classes, currently finishing to learning. You are doing exceptionally. Your written English is really, really good, I've got to say. One map I've been thinking about for a while and tested would be a space map including the Earth, Moon, Mars, and some asteroids. Why not? Okay, talk to Random. Random is the one for that kind of map. They may have it might be something that Random's been thinking about doing for a while, and they may have some ideas. They look, well, I'm not going to do it, so here's an idea that I was going to do. So pick their brain on that one. Anyway, that really is slick. I don't know what that was, but thank you. What I do for realism is I create irregular tree lines. Correct. Irregular tree lines is the answer. You're in the upper half of your class. Good for you. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You're native from France, but I do sometimes think English. That is something. That is something. I don't really... my brain isn't wired for language. I'm numeric. I'm really good at remembering numbers, generally speaking. But I'm... Yeah. Languages, I just don't think. I was thinking... Magic. Do you know what? Magic is also a really creative map builder. I think... And this is no shade on Magic. I think Random is technically a better map maker in all those sort of things, but creativity, Magic is top tier, absolutely top tier. And I'd have Magic in terms of creativity above the likes of Sidai and Bringer of Fire, because they're more classical map makers. You get Magic, you've got your Anapu, obviously, Random, creators that go, right, okay, what can I do that is different? And Magic is definitely one for different, and they are pretty dang good at it. Not always to people's taste, that's the downside of it, where you build a map and people go, yeah, it's very nice, but I'm not going to build on it. Anyway, let's do a little bit more field painting. Not field painting, tree spludging. Tree spludge time. Let's get rid of that. That's what I meant to do there. I'll call this up. And we'll throw a small spludge of trees into the middle of here. Symmetry. Symmetry. I love a little bit of symmetry in a map. Especially if you're not really looking for it and you go, wow, why does that work so well? And here, this is why it works so well. It's just one over here, one over here. Actually feels a little bit of dead space as well. I think here it's just a small... That is not bad. Just continuing the lines. It's not bad. It's not quite right. It's not quite right, I tell you. Whew, yeah, but yes, well done for being French. That's one of the things in Rocket League that pops up every now and then in the chat. I'll have... Oh, just actually, bear me 1 second. Just need to go and evacuate my nostrils. I'm going to mute the mic so that you don't end up with the sound of my blowing my nose into your eardrums. Won't be 1 second. Just a moment. I'm back. Oh, I had to actually leave the room to go and get something to blow my nose on. There we go. That's tomorrow's shirt that I can't wear. I'm just kidding. Where were we? So we're playing Rocket League. There'll be quite often somebody in Rocket League who will, and pardon my French here, because you know French is my second language and it's awful. Right, I'm just nowhere near a French speaker, sort of like elementary school, and it would be the question in the chat would sometimes be tu es français, or vous êtes français? Is it? No, it's tu es français, isn't it? To which my response is non anglais, because I can say that. I can usually recognise, because they see in the name Bonbon, and they are assuming that there's a strong chance that I am of French origin, and I get that. but bonbon is actually a term used in English as well. It's a specific product. So anyway, yes. So like, two-way français. Oh, hang on. I see French. Morning, Hunter. Morning, Hunter. Don't make forests perfectly symmetric. Yes, but make them. Yes, absolutely 100% there. Okay, je vous défile de comprendre ce que je dis en ce moment même. Just say, well, yes. I did do that, but and I write français without the hanging bit under the C. There we go. I'm being English here, right? Because I don't have that on my keyboard, or I do have it on the keyboard, but I don't know the quick way of finding it. So, and when I do need the quick way for finding it, there's 101 other combinations that I need for finding it. So I'm but je ne parle pas français. I could say, but but it's quite fun that the amount of people that think I might be French. Not as fun as the one time I was recognised. That was... Anyway, let me just... hang on. Je vous défile de comprendre. So, well, okay. Comprendre is to understand. This... I say something along the lines of that you don't understand the meme. I don't. I'd have to hang on. This is not. I need to understand this. I'm only partly understanding it. I'm now using Google Translate. Right, it's got to be done. It's got to be done from the French. I challenge you to understand what I'm saying right now. I was nowhere near close. I was nowhere even close. All right, I got comprendre. As in to comprehend, I get that, but I didn't know defy, so that was always going to be the problem. Right now I've kind of got that, but yes, I could spend a little while deconstructing that, and I wouldn't have got it. If I'm totally honest with you, I would not have got it. Right, anyway, where were we? Hang on. It's under the 9. It's under the 9. Is it? I don't know. It's not on my keyboard. It's not. Not on my keyboard. It's not. But yeah, great. Different keyboards for different whatevers, isn't it? But yes, French is my second language, and it's like elementary school, if at best, probably I would suggest. And when I say elementary school, I mean elementary school in the UK, not elementary school in France, where they speak very good French. Well, for their age, anyway. Right. At least I hope so. Do French kids suddenly start speaking French when they're like 14? The YouTube generation. Where are you from? I'm from France, but I haven't started learning it yet. Right, okay. That, for me, is just so much better. My brain doesn't hurt anymore looking at that. The splurries of trees have yet to happen for me. There are going to be little things like just light dustings, like here. There might be a light dusting in the middle. Just a really low level brush. Just to, and again, somewhere like along here, I'm really happy with this being empty. Don't be afraid of empty land. This area here, this is finished. This is absolutely finished. Nothing is going here. That is about as good as I could want it. Whereas over here, I'm just going to play with an idea. Let me do something. There is the undo button, so don't worry. Ready? Ready? Here we go. Don't be too proud. Don't be too proud to accept that something you've built does not work. And this is definitely better. This is definitely better. But can it be used elsewhere? Can it be used elsewhere? Don't think it can. Maybe here. That's possible. What are we thinking? Hang on. What's the thoughts in the chat? Most people, elementary school French is still questionable. Most people start to talk properly understandable French at 10. Really? Really? Right. We have a beach. The beach is the resort area over here, which is still work in progress, but it's, again, this is first pass of trees down here, so this will definitely add a little extra dimension. I kind of like this area being open. This feels too intrusive. But I also like this. I also like that. So if I was, there's this space here, but I like the transition between heavy going through to light. Oh, I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. I do not know. I've got an idea. Okay, I have an idea. I have an idea. Export the final heavy. I'm just going to call it heavy because it feels heavy. Okay, that's now saved. It's now gone. It's now gone. We'll bring this across to here. We'll do another one across here. And one up this way, like so, and a little bit like that. Just that. I think this might be what I'm looking to do. I think it might be it's going to be quicker to hand paint, I think, because I won't be able to get the, no, I'm going to have to, I am going to go tree line, sorry. That's about the right size, isn't it? I think the right distance. Oh well, that worked out quite handily. That worked out quite handily. Small extension along here. And a small extension up here, probably falling short. $100% better. I hate saying it. I was so sold on that being my solution there. And I was too scared. I was just too scared to let it go. Drag you a little bit closer to the footpath. And going to move you just a little this way. Yep, that I think is a zillion times better than what I had before. A zillion times better. In fact, I'm noticing this as well. You know when you start noticing things? I reckon all of these, pretty much. All of these, pretty much. Possibly this one can stay in mostly. Possibly. There we go. And somewhere over here, I'm going to trim this line up as well. Better, better, better. Getting better all the time. Getting better all the time. Some of these are just too harsh. In fact, it wants to be the other way, I think. Let me grab you. Bring you up this way. Somewhere about there. Yeah, that softens the coast as well, because that hard line was quite hard. Kind of wants to be a little bit hard, but it was a little bit too much hard. Oh, and the early morning dust is getting up my nostrils again. Let me mute the microphone just for one momento, one more time. Sorry about that. That was, yeah. Let's not talk it. Let's not go into details. That was, yeah. There was a bit more up there than I thought, shall we say? Right. But catching up with the chat there. Some teachers almost haven't been informed, but they are with students because of the lack of teachers. All right, gotcha. Yeah. Oh, formed, trained, maybe. So student teachers, I'm guessing you're saying there, with you know, undertrained. I'm with you. Also, there are many hours where there aren't any teachers for a class, so you must put security survey. Yeah, teaching. It's one of those. There's a bit of a degree of that in the UK as well, because teachers should just be teachers, and they're having to be welfare. They're having to look out for kids that have got problems that they don't really need. You know, if you're going to become a history teacher, you've got to learn more than just history. You've got to know your history, but you've also got to be looking out for kids that might be suffering abuse at home. You've got to be there for control and discipline for these kids, but you're not allowed to discipline the kids. I was talking yesterday, actually. A friend of mine is a chaperone for kids in the entertainment industry. It's got to be a fantastic job. I made a Facebook post about this kid that came into my store and asked how many of something he could get for a certain amount of money. And it was actually simple math. It literally was very simple. Well, not super simple math, but it was easy. It was the sort of level of math that he should have been able to do in his head for his age. Now, I appreciate all kids are different. Some will have attention deficit disorder and that kind of thing, and some kids are just slower than other kids. I get that, but when you ask me a question for something that you are probably old enough to be able to do for yourself, my response is, come on, you can do it. Of course, when they start struggling, I'm there to help. I'm not telling you. I'm saying, go on, have a go. You try. You work it out. You can do this. This is easy enough for you. And he pulled out his phone and did it on his calculator and said, it's not exactly what I meant, but yeah, the answer was 20. Basically, the answer, it's not like 17 or 340. The answer was 20. So if you think about, let's say if it was like, how many 5p things can you get for £1? Well, there's 100 pennies in the pound. It's 20. And two fives are 10, and then 10 tens, and then 2 10s. It was that level. And I put that up as a Facebook post. My chaperone friend said that he's very similar, but he's actually been told by his employers that he's not allowed to have that attitude anymore. I go, what? Apparently, one of the kids that he was chaperoning, 12 years old, this kid. No, so not again. Everything by age, everything in context. If a 4-year-old comes up to you and says, I can't open this banana, you open the banana for them. You show them how you're opening the banana so they can try next time. But it might be a bit hard for them because they have got little hands and they haven't got it's everything. But when a 12-year-old says, I can't open my banana, you look at the banana and you see no effort's been made to open the banana. There's no damage to it or any bending to it. You say, well, you can do that. You're 12. Have a go. And again, some bananas can be tricky little feckers, can't they? We know that, right? So, yeah, it might be that you might need that little bit of adult strength to be able to start the split. But if the kid hasn't made any effort at all, anyway, he's been told he has to open. When the kid asks, he has to open the banana. He has to peel the banana for this prima donna child in the entertainment industry. Right. Anyways. Did I go off on the BonBon tangent again? I think I did. Anyway, curious why you choose to put down roadside decorations but not the roads. This is because good question, Stark. Good question. This is not a street plan. This is the equivalent of field painting. And with field painting, why do you put down the fields but not the farm? And it's exactly the same here. These aren't streets. In fact, these are footpaths lining a no street. So what we have here is, if you have a look at probably the answer here, this is a perfect example here where the road along here, heavily decorated with street furniture as such, lined by, as again, look at the transition, heavily decorated. We've got trees on the outside, we've got the tree line, signs of the BonBon Bingo players, footpaths. And then as we come around here, it fades out. If anything, I maybe should be fading out a couple of these. Let me just do a couple of these here as well, just so that it transitions out into, in fact, I'm going to take that one out as well there, just so that it goes from being a solid line. It's not a solid line stopping, it's a solid line that fades, big word fade, out, and now that's gone. But what we have instead is an imaginary line straight on. There is no line there. And imaginary, this is the slip road, I'm guessing, off the highway, because this is from the highway, right? So this is my suggested highway route. Again, it's just suggested. I have given this no thought whatsoever. It's doodled. The whole map is doodled. And it's suggested. This is all just suggestions. So the answer to why do we have along here, there we go, this is the one. This here doesn't tell the story, but as part of this you can see it does. It's just it's design. It's design. Here we go. This fades out from being heavy into soft into nothing. It's just a transition. It's just transition. I'm not saying I'm the best in the world at it, but I am trying. Anyways, just teach them to bite through the big banana skin. What you need to do is you need to peel from the bottom, because we are eating them wrong. You look at any monkey, right? This is what monkeys know best, right? Look at any monkey. A monkey will eat the banana from the bottom and hold the stem. Love tree lines, yes. But there'll be networks here. All the networks are done, Tamada. All the networks are done. I have got no plans at all. If anything, I'm removing networks. A few chunks of footpaths here and there. Yeah, if anything, I'm removing them. We're on tree painting. And on conclusion of tree painting, this map will be done. Me talking about tree painting isn't getting tree painting done, is it? This is better. This is better. I'm really glad I redid that. We do still have the... Thank you, Mr. Motorbike. We still do have the ore underneath here, which I'm going to remove. And probably realign here as well. Just so that we have the sensation of ore, of a road. That's all that is. The reason why I've got these footpaths down is because the difference between the ore and the regular terrain is negligible. You remove all of this, it's not a road. Would work with sand, but sand is a bit, well, sandy. I don't know if I'd really want to do that for that area. And I'm getting sniffy again. Okay, it's just one of those mornings. I've been up a few hours actually now, about 3 hours, and right now maybe it's, I reckon this might be early morning hay fever, because the sun's coming up now. It's probably releasing pollen, and probably what's causing my nostrils to flare. Let me just do this blow of the nose one last time. Yeah, wasn't the answer 42, not 20? I honestly, no. The answer was 20. I'm never really... Maybe you can educate me on this one, right? Only because I'm old and have no culture. I have no street culture, right? 42. Okay, I get it's a cannabis reference, right? I believe. In like no more than 2 sentences, can you explain to me why? Because I honestly don't know. I'm guessing it has something to do with, oh, I don't know. I literally, I don't know. I don't know why 42 has led to it being reference to cannabis. It's probably something I'm going to say, because I've got no interest in the culture. I've never smoked anything, tobacco, anything. I don't hold it against anybody that wants to smoke cannabis. I don't want it in my skin, thank you. So if you want to smoke it, you go outside, come back in a few minutes time, use some mouthwash because it stinks. But if you needed to chill out, it's fine. It's fine. Doesn't affect me. And if you're smoking it right now on the other side of the world, fine, great, works for me. But yeah, I just don't want it in my life. But that said, because I've got no interest in it, it's like rap. It's not my sort of music. I don't understand rap culture. So you might make a rap reference to me and I won't understand it. I'm interested. I'm not going to Google it because I've got no direct desire to learn. There's other things I want to learn. But while we're here on YouTube, just doing this, if you know the reason for 42, I am actually listening because right now, out of curiosity, I'm curious. Out of curiosity, I'm curious. Yes, English is. I'm learning it from Tamada at the moment. They are my muse. Am I at the point? This city, is this? I think that it was that was really holding me back brain-wise. Are we now at transitional trees? Are we bringing in tree variants? I'm going to do this area here a little bit, just a little bit. Right, let's do this with I'm going to do this by hand. So I need just to tie this area in. With this. These houses here. We're actually going to remove a few in there. Not liking that. Let me try this again. Let me try this. How about we head it out this way? Yep, that's a bit better. Now that ties in those houses better. They felt a little bit out on their own. Then we'll bring in a little bit of foliage into some of these areas. Bring that into that line there so it looks like it carries through. And I will change foliage for that section there because we're moving away from the forest lines. But that is not too bad. That's better. The next stage of the tree painting, and I am going to stop in a moment because I do have some tasks to do this morning before I start work. The more I fly around now looking at just random spots like here, I'm going, actually, it's about right. Actually, it's about right. Not talking about it being finished, but we're talking about bringing in a couple of different styles of trees in here just to add interest. Again, just to add interest here. Trees in the mountains, stopping at this level. I'm good with that. And again, everywhere I go now, I'm looking at areas and going, the tree painting is about right. There's nothing here that I'm hating. Again, just need to switch over, well, bring in a, because there is a definite, see the switch here. So we're going to need to bring some of these trees into the lower areas here and transition it into the boreal style trees here. But again, that's the next point. I think, yeah, next up, which will be tonight, we're going to come down into this area here and try and transition the trees more smoothly from the lowland into the boreal trees. I think it's definitely a plan. Let me bring this over here, catch up on the chat before we wheedle away. Let's have a little look. It's a reference to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the... Of course! The ultimate question of life, university. That would be absolutely, yeah. What is the meaning of life? Weed. I get it. What a stupid. You know when your brain doesn't put one and one together. Of course, it's obvious now. Thanks, Hunter. According to Wikipedia, 420 is cannabis culture slang for marijuana. 42 is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything. Yeah. Thanks, Stephen. You and Hunter have cleared that up beautifully. So thanks. According to Wikipedia, see, I could have done that, but I just didn't care enough. It was one of those things that, for me, it was conversational. I would never bother looking it up because I wouldn't have really cared enough. But if you're just waffling about something with a mate or whatever, that's the sort of thing. Hey, where did you get those shoes from? I'm not going to buy them. I'm just curious. That kind of level, yeah. Anyway, will those plateau steps stay here? They look hand drafted. When you say plateau step, you're talking these things. Mostly, yes. They are staying, because there's only one of them I'm not happy with, and I might work it a little bit. It's only one. The rest of them, it's a fantasy map, and I want it to be buildable, and I don't want to lose too much in the... Let's come out of here and go into the tiles. So if you have a look here, these very much are aligned. I know this one's slightly off, but they are mostly aligned with... This is a tile, and it is mostly... Well, it's certainly this chunk here is half that tile is very buildable there. We've got buildable area in here as well. Plus you can build in the valley. This is all very buildable. Let's move up a little bit. This one again fits on a tile. This one here fits on a tile. Okay, so again, split over two levels. But these very much are based on the tiles. Now, I could come along and go, yeah, this... And I think I might, possibly, when I can, especially with the tree painting finessing coming up. And this one here, this is kind of like the most meh part of the map, and I'm toying with a level of field painting in here, toying with it. But in terms of these, yeah, they are staying mostly. I mean, I might do a smoother transition between a couple just so that people can get a road up here, but generally speaking, I'm relatively happy. It's not the thing on the map that I'm most unhappy with. The plateaus. It's not the thing I'm most unhappy with. And when I say most unhappy, I'm happy with the thing I'm most unhappy with. I'm just not ecstatic. But we're looking at dozens of hours to elevate it, and I'm not going to spend dozens of hours elevating something that I'm happy with at the moment, but not ecstatic. Personally, you hate it. You're entitled to hate it. Absolutely. Yeah, you're entitled to hate it. This is the style of map that I've wanted to do for, I mean, 5 years, easily 5 years. But the reason why I haven't, I'm going to have to mute the mic again. My nostrils are full. Just a second. Back again. Right. Yeah, the fantasy map is a really difficult genre. Really difficult genre. Because there's a balance. There is a fine balance between a map being realistic and let's say, what the hell is that? Right. So realistic is actually, it looks perfect. It looks like a real life location. And then what the hell is that? Is you've gone too fantastical. What sort of mountain have you built there? It doesn't not viable. So you look at stuff like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is a fantasy environment. It's New Zealand, mostly. And so and then you go, well, anything which is like, big mountains, insanely beautiful, crazy waterfalls, all those sort of things, like Peru. You've got Norway, the coast of Norway. These are all fantasy locations, but they're not. They're real life locations. What you have to do is you have to find that balance between realistic and sort of like kind of believable. If you look at the amount of rivers that I have on the map here and the shape of the map, this is, I mean, there are such valleys like this, but not like this. The plateaus are for gameplay. You do get plateaus like this in real life, but they're not this big. They are sort of I will point you to the tiered farms of, say, again, South America or Italy, and the Mediterranean. There are tiered farms in these areas. So this kind of thing does exist, but not on this sort of scale. But also the amount of rivers. You look at the amount of rivers we've got here. I mean, there are wetlands where there are these number of rivers, but it's just insane. I mean, I've crammed in this windy, long river down the side. It's finding but again, the reason why I haven't done fantasy map before is I didn't have confidence in my own abilities, and I'm close to having confidence in my own abilities now on doing a map like this. A realistic map, no problem. I would have a go at that. This, finding river routes that are convoluted yet confident, I just wasn't sure about, and now I am. I'm pretty sure. Terraces, yes. Terraces. We'll go with terraces rather than plateaus, but they're too big to be terraces, I think. Pre-made, yeah. Oh yeah, looks like they are pre-made. They are pre-made. I think personally, I'd rather have these plateaus than a pre-cut airport. If I was to extend this area out with what is obviously an airport, just a straight line out into the sea, I would hate that more, because you're telling the city builder you have to put an airport here, not suggesting that maybe an airport could fit maybe here. This is flat land. This is your harbour. This is a potential airport. Maybe a potential airport up this way. Possibly. Maybe a potential airport in here. Possibly. This here, actually, the more I look at it, airport, because we actually have the rail connection. So yeah, with these, I don't want to tell people, other than obviously I'm telling people because we've got the oil fields there. This is your oil. If I put some farms on these two terraces here, or maybe whatever, some fake farms in this area, field painting. That's telling people this is farmland. And up here we've got the ore, because obviously you've got a quarry. Other than telling people if they can't see the resources, kind of like a hint, this is the farming area. Yeah, but yeah, I get what you mean about the plateaus. It's not going to be for everybody. I'm not expecting it to be for everybody. But this is just a style of map that I've wanted to do for way too long. And I'm going for it. And to be less of a bad person today, good Feifel, off you go. And not go to sleep way too late. But I figured I'd on my... Oh yes, indeed. Yes, I'm just about to wind up actually. I've got a task I need to do. If you could see my front room right now, you'd say, why weren't you doing it for the last hour and a half, Bob? I would say natural light. Because it's only just turned 8 o'clock here. At 6:30, I would have had to have the main light on in the room. And the main light in this room is not particularly bright. It's okay. But for what I want to be, natural light. So now we've got the natural light. I've got a couple of hours I can get you crack on and do the job. But yeah, currently the room is in disrepair. Furniture speaking. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. You know what changes there might be with the Enter and CS2? Stephen, no one knows. In fact, there are rumours there won't be a map editor from the start. It might be added later. It might be added as a DLC. If it is, can you see that? Can you see how many fingers I'm holding up right there to Paradox? Stroke Colossal Order. Can you see how many I'm holding up? That yes. If the map editor is DLC, waving this single digit, not telling you which one because I don't want to be rude, right? It might be my pinky, it might be, it might not. Honestly, if it's DLC, I will be irritated. There we go, polite word. Use your polite words, Bonbon. Oh man, yeah. So yeah. There's again, the thing is though, it's rumours. Somebody has said to somebody to some point that there may not be a map editor from the off, and if that's the case, I don't have a huge problem with it being added as a patch if it's not ready. I mean, it's got to be ready because they have made maps for us to play on, right? And we've seen the terrain editor in work in the beta live streams. So that if the terrain editor's working and they've made maps for us to play on, then surely there is a map editor pretty much ready to go. But then I'm still saying I would like, if they're talking about it, yeah, they're not talking about it, I'm talking about it. But if we are talking about a paid DLC map editor, it needs to have inbuilt import functionality. I'm going to call it Terrain Party. It's not Terrain Party anymore, but in the style of Terrain Party, so that we can, without leaving the map editor, go to a part of the world, grab the height map from within the map editor. No faffing about externally. Grab the terrain height map from within the map editor, and as a double bonus point, have the equivalent of Wilbur technology built into the map editor. If I'm paying for the map editor, give me a map editor I can use, right? Not the same map editor I've been using before and reliant on third-party mods and website support. So yeah, that is if it's DLC. If it's a delayed patch, different story. And in fact, I kind of approve a little bit, little tiny bit, a delayed patch, because we should be learning the game, not spending hours in the map editor. Yeah, learn to play the game, master the game, then go make maps that'll make that game better. Same with mods. Don't just go and make a mod the day the game comes out. Don't go and make a mod because you can. Play the game, work out what mods are needed. You know, I can make this game more interesting by making it a pink. Yeah, great, lovely. Pink mod, lovely. Great, lovely. But do we need a pink mod? Anyway, these are some big plateaus, I know. Such a Plateau de Larzac. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. There are... yeah, typo. I get it. Fantasy map is what is in your head, and nobody can say it's wrong. Absolutely true. Anything that's not a real-life location is a fantasy map, basically. But fantasy... I think fantasy is implausible. Right, a river system that you were not expecting. And is probably, like I say, implausible. That's my thought process there. Yeah, but yes, DLC. Again, I don't know. I'm only repeating a rumor. I've heard it from a couple of sources, but people were talking about hexagons because somebody went off on one and made a video. And when I find out who that was, I'll tell you. I'm going to shake their hand. No, just kidding. Yeah. Speculation's a great thing. Sometimes you're right. Like, if you remember the World Cup, and I did that short series, and one of the very early matches, Saudi Arabia beat Argentina 2-1, and my simulation predicted that 100%. How did you do that? How did you do it? Was the screams from the people that had watched that video. And it was 64 matches being simulated. 1 or 2 of them are going to be correct. That was one of a very few of them that were actually exactly correct. So yeah, it's one of those. It's just one of those situations. Situations. Wow. It's just one of those situations. So anyway, yes, fantasy map. It's coming together. I'm going to be on tonight, where we are now going to start on second passes of the trees, because we are at that level. Second pass, third pass, detailing pass, and then shipping routes, and then screenshots, and then upload. Could be about a week, I think. It's going to be fun. Going to be a lot of fun. Right, anyway, I'm going to pootle, which means go. I don't know why. Why does pootle mean go in English? It doesn't mean pootle off. What pootle off? Wander off? I guess it kind of just means I'm gonna just disappear slowly in my own time. But yeah, pootle. This is not. Oh, maybe it's just a BonBonB word. Who knew I made up words? Jinky janky wibbly wobbly. Uppy downy. Oh, excellent. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I've been waffling too long, and I have got a living room to sort out. So anyway, yeah, I don't have an outro. So if you haven't already hit the like button, now is a very good time to do so. I will be back on tonight, definitely tonight. Need to make good progress tonight on this map. Tonight and tomorrow, the days that I need to make good progress on this map, and then yeah, by tomorrow night, I want this to be down to the detailing, literally the little tweaks, the little going to individual sections and fixing individual sections, just tiny little things. That's what I'm looking for by tomorrow night, if I can. Wow. Anyway, I've been BonBonB. You've been very, very welcome. I'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.